Hello! A video, Warframe, first impressions. Fortuna! Orb Mother fight. So, let's quickly cover the Orb Mother because we are fighting it. The Orb Mother is basically the boss for Orb Valis, or the Fortuna expansion. It is a giant spider tank. I don't care if it's called the Orb Mother, it's a giant frigging spider tank that has a lot of knockdowns. I'd recommend you go Rhino, Chroma, or Naros. And if you are going with a group of friends, then bring a Trinity if you really wanted to. This is a public lobby. Yeah. Anyway. Very, very simple, this boss. You have to cycle through damage. You shoot down the shield using any normal weapon. You don't have to use amps, thank God. You just use the amp to cycle through the damage to get a damage type you have. You do a bunch of damage to it. You then pull out an Arcwing weapon and shoot it. Yes, we can use Arcwing weapons in combat now. I chose the Velocitus. That was a mistake. It has a stagger on it. It's not very fun. I've also found it to be wildly inconsistent, which is not awesome at all. Mainly the crit damage is very, very inconsistent. Sometimes it will crit, sometimes it will just not. I probably should get around to picking a different Arcwing weapon eventually, because it sort of sucks. Yeah. Anyway, I find this boss fight to be more enjoyable compared to Eidolons. I think it requires less investment to get involved. Although I might be wrong, because Eidolons you basically need an amp. Any amp really. Whereas this you need any amp, a semi-decent loadout, a frame that can survive, and guns that have different damage types really. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's the fact I'm more geared out compared to when Blades of Eidolon came out that I'm a bit biased, but I don't know. I quite enjoy this fight. I quite enjoy the whole Fortuna and Venus setting. It's more of the same. They have made some minor quality of life changes on fishing, and they've also made some minor quality of life changes on mining, and they've also made some minor quality of life changes with regards to bounties. You no longer have to go back to the hub world in order to get bounty. You just go to the guy outside and then you can get a new bounty, which is lovely. Unfortunately, you cannot do this for the heist, which is what we're playing right now, to get to the Orb Mother. You have to go through and then do a bunch of cutscenes again, and then yeah, that's sort of sucky, but I can forgive DE because I understand why that is the case, because they have a bunch of cutscenes and they wouldn't work if you were outside. Not really. Anyway, moving on. It's more of the same. The bounties I found to be significantly harder compared to Plains of Eidolon. I've also found them to be higher in difficulty because enemies will spawn a lot more frequently, and they've also had an alert level where they've found a way of increasing the enemy spawns to ludicrous levels, and I quite like that. It's actually making the game more fun in my opinion, and I wish they would go through and add it to everything, because honestly, having hordes and hordes of enemies is so much more fun than having nothing much to do at all, which is what normally happens in Plains of Eidolon, where I actually just end up gem farming. People do shout at you, but honestly there's nothing to do. Don't blame me. With that out of the way, it's time to talk about what Fortuna also added that's new. So we added conservation, which is basically capturing and hunting animals. This is very, very fun. You get little animal fluffs, they're called. They're basically animal statues that you can put on your orbiter. I have a couple right now. I need to complete the full set. They added more. I have almost done part 1, which is fine. I will do part 2 soon. I just want an arcane first. It's gonna take a couple of days, so we're gonna get to that eventually. So what else did they add? Well, they did 2 sets of Fortuna. They did part 1 and part 2. Part 1 basically had some base arcanes. Part 2 added more arcanes and more fluffs, more animals. Fishing remained the same, and then they added heist, which is this with the Orb Mother. They are planning on adding more, just like they added more Eidolons. I am looking forward to that, if I'm honest with you. But overall, more of the same. They've taken a lot of the lessons from Plains of Eidolon and improved. They've also made some quite substantial quality of life changes, which makes Fortuna more fun than Plains of Eidolon. The world building is much higher. I actually care about pretty much everybody I interact with, which is compared to Plains of Eidolon, which I really didn't care about them at all. Even Konzu, like why care about Konzu? Whereas Plains of Eidolon, I care about everyone I interact with, like all of them. They're all interesting, which is weird for me to say because normally for a lot of people in Warframe, you honestly don't care about them. They're like, oh, I give you stuff, like, oh, thank you. Even like Lotus, you really don't care about in this game. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that. But you really don't care about them, whereas Fortuna, you actually start to build a relationship with them, which is really weird. And it's nice. It really is. Here's a bunch of loot, and the old mother is now dead. It honestly is not a difficult fight, in my opinion. I might be wrong. It's a very simple fight. It's not going to take that long. Takes around about 6 to 7 so minutes to do, depending. I reckon you could get it done in about 8 if you were to solo it. There you go. I think it is soloable. It's a bit annoying though because of how many knockdowns that exist. And here I'm waiting for it to explode, but we just have a beam of light. That's not what I was looking for, if I'm honest with you. It really isn't. So, mining comes back, hunting is new. We get bounties that you can get at the gate. You also can capture bases and get bounties from them. They've just made improvements across the board. I found the performance in Fortuna to be a lot better too. It loads quicker. There's like less hitching. It's much more responsive, I found, on like most of the menus. They've done a fantastic job overall. I really am speechless just how much I enjoyed Fortuna. I was somewhat not looking forward to it after Plains of Eidolon because I got really bored of that after a while. Whereas this, there's so much to do, and it's so interesting what you're doing, and the combat is really fast paced and interesting that it honestly makes the game feel fresh, which is nice. And here is a speed run of one of the heists. This is the second level. This is mainly me farming Atmos systems, Geomag systems, and Repeller systems. This is how to do it quickly, and this is going to be the last bit of footage before I cut this off. I have worked out there's a way of doing this slightly quicker, but you know, mild optimizations. Unfortunately, I got here so quickly that Little Duck is still talking, and the person I want to kill has not spawned yet, so I'm just gonna let's just wait now. You're welcome to use this route if you want to farm Atmos systems. This is the second one. There he is, and dead. I did work out there's a quick way of doing it, which is not to go up the stairs, go backwards. That saves a couple seconds if you wanted mid-max. Anyway, Fortuna, I've been enjoying it. I like Fortuna. There's a lot of things to do. I still haven't done everything yet. I probably won't get everything done. Not yet. Mainly just like mild collecting things now. Getting every arcane. Getting sets of the good arcanes. Getting the final weapons. I gotta go do a bunch of mining. And getting Baruch, who is going to take a while. Apart from that, not much else to say. It's more of the same. It's much better than Plains of Eidolon, in my opinion. They've learnt the lessons from Plains of Eidolon quite well. They've done a great job overall, and I would like to tip my hat to DE because you've done a fantastic job. Like, you really have. I am happy to play like Fortuna, like really am. I am also happy to play Cetus too. Oh yeah, this is the one where I die. Oh, it was such a good time, and then it dies, and then the awkward, stupid thing. Oh well. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you again next time. Peace.
Sentient research director. So that's what you get for messing with things you don't understand.
Right. Listen up. Take the...